The 6 Alchemical Gates, a Taoist master's guide to inner transformation. In our last exploration, we journeyed into the profound mystery of Taoist internal alchemy, where we uncovered what's called the Great Division. This is the cosmic moment when human existence split into two, marking what I call the beautiful tragedy of being alive. It's the hidden story written into every soul, our exile from oneness, our forgetting of the divine light we once knew. But here's where it gets powerful. Within this very fracture lies the alchemist's sacred mission. This isn't just about techniques. It's about staging nothing less than a spiritual revolution, a rebellion against fragmentation itself. The daring work of transforming our leaden separation back into golden wholeness. Here's what we've discovered. You and I, we are the great division in human form. Our original luminous spirit, what Taoists call the Yuan Xin, gets divided at birth into our celestial Huan and earthly Po. Our life energy, Jing, pulls us into physical form, our breath, Qi, sings the song of separation, and our heart, which should be still as a mountain lake, shatters into 1,000 desires. This is why we forget our way home. But Taoist alchemy? This is our path of rebellion. The sacred art of reuniting what was split, of awakening that primordial light within our very bodies, before it's too late, before death comes. To achieve this is to walk through life already whole, no longer broken seekers but sovereign beings remembering our undivided nature. Quick note before we begin, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, do yourself a favor and watch that video first. In this video we'll decode the ancient wisdom concealed within chapter 10 of the Tao Te Ching to unveil the 6 hidden gates of transformation in Taoist internal alchemy, unlocking these profound secrets one sacred revelation at a time. If this spiritual journey calls to you, please subscribe and click the bell to join our growing community of seekers. Chapter 10 of the Tao Te Ching isn't just poetry, it's a manual. Each question Laozi asks aligns with a critical stage of energy cultivation. This is real, applicable inner alchemy, not theory. We'll break it down step by step in this video. Please notice, this video reveals the highest secrets of Taoist cultivation, the ultimate method for mastering inner alchemy. Its content is profound and immensely intricate, with each mentioned gate representing a monumental breakthrough in alchemical practice. For this reason, practitioners often describe the journey as, to pass through the 6 gates is to die 6 times, and be reborn in the Tao's eternal furnace. If you don't grasp the teachings on your first or second viewing, don't be discouraged. Persist, watch repeatedly, and contemplate with sincerity. In time, these methods will surely manifest their truth within you. The 6 Secret Gates of Alchemy, Taoist Spiritual Transformation Guide. Gate 1. The Alchemy of Original Reunion. Can you hold soul and body in the one embrace without division? Laozi's challenge in chapter 10 of the Tao Te Ching is no mere philosophical query, it is the first key to unlocking immortality. Here, at the threshold of the 6 secret gates, we encounter the primordial law of internal alchemy, the sacred reunion of Hun, celestial soul, and Po, earthly soul. This is the unity of form and spirit, where the fractured self is forged back into the indestructible Yuan Xin, the undivided light that predates heaven and earth. The path of rebellion. The Taoist sage does not submit to the tyranny of fragmentation. This gate is the art of cosmic defiance, reversing the descent into mortality, rewinding the separation of yin and yang within the crucible of your own body. It is the alchemy of mending the celestial rift, stitching spirit back into flesh before death claims its due. The practice of wholeness. To master this gate is to transcend duality, no longer torn between heaven's whispers and earth's pull, but anchoring both in the still point of Zhōng, the sacred center where all opposites merge. Embody sovereignty, walking the world as a hollow bone, empty of illusion, yet radiant with primordial clarity. Awaken the original vow, remembering the covenant your soul made with the Tao before time began. This is the first secret. The end is encoded in the beginning. The return to Yuan Xin is not an attainment, but a remembrance, a homecoming written into your very breath. Want to learn the powerful 3-stage method from ancient Taoist masters to pass the first gate and awaken the primordial light of your true nature? Leave a 1 below. Gate 2. The Sacred Return to Original Breath. Can you guide your vital breath to become soft as a newborn through perfect yielding? Laozi's second question pierces the heart of cultivation, the paradox of effortlessness. Here we enter the gate of unearned qi, where true power arises only when striving ends. The alchemical revelation. 1. 2 breaths of existence. Prenatal breath, the Tao's uninterrupted rhythm. The breath before breath, the pulse of Wuji, the unconditioned origin. Primordial void preceding yin-yang. Postnatal breath, the fractured wind of identity, the ego's gasp against the current of the cosmos. 2. The path of unlearning. This is not mastery but meltdown, dissolving the armoring of the diaphragm, the tension of I am the breather. If Gate 1 united Hun and Po, Gate 2 annihilates the illusion of separation entirely. The alchemist becomes the crucible, the space where breath happens. The living practice. 1. Infant respiration. At dawn and dusk. Let inhales enter like mist through mountain pines, no throat, no lips, no boundary. Let exhales empty you like a tide receding into the dark womb of the sea. Rest your tongue against the palate, the sacred latch of heaven's nipple where celestial milk flows. 2. Lunar crucible. During the waning moon. Bathe your lower dantian in cool lunar nectar. Imagine each breath condensing into quicksilver light, pooling in the elixir field like mercury of the immortals. Signs of transformation. When the gate opens, your ribs undulate like kelp in the deep, moved by currents older than bones. The wind in the trees, the swell of tides, these become your breath's second body. You awaken to the truth. I am not breathing, I am the Tao breathing itself. The Master's final teaching. Do not seek to breathe like an immortal. Become the hollow reed through which the universe exhales its first and last sigh. This is where cultivation becomes uncultivation, where every breath is a sacrament of return. Gate 3. The alchemy of unclouded perception. Can you polish the mystic mirror until no dust clings? Laozi's third question strikes at the root of illusion, the alchemical purification of consciousness itself. This is not about quieting the mind, but dissolving the meditator who clouds reality with interpretation. Here we enter the most radical of transformations, realizing the mirror has always been clean. The sacred revelation. 1. The mirror's nature. Primordial awareness. The ever-present reflection, unstained, unchanging, untouched by thought. Like the moon in water, disturbed only when grasped at. The great lie of dust. The problem is not thoughts but the phantom I that claims them. What we call dust is merely attention fossilized into a self. 2. The great undoing. Gate 1 united body and spirit. Gate 2 surrendered the breath to the cosmos. Now, Gate 3 annihilates the final illusion, the observer itself. Not stilling the mind but seeing there is no mind to still. The living practice. 1. Water mirror contemplation. At dawn, kneel before still water. Gaze until ripples, thoughts, settle on their own. Continue until you forget whether you are the reflection or the reflected. The moment of breakthrough, when the water becomes your original face. 2. Wu Wei calligraphy. Write Wu Wei with a rabbit hair brush. Each stroke erases the calligrapher. The ink transforms into black light, devouring mental noise. The final stroke? The brush drops by itself. The rebellion. This is where Taoist alchemy diverges from all other paths. Others seek enlightenment, we uncover what was never hidden. Others chase wisdom, we remember our innate, wordless clarity. Others polish mirrors, we realize the polisher is the last stain. The fruit of mastery. When Gate 3 opens, thoughts pass like clouds across the moon, noticed but leaving no trace. The world appears crisp yet weightless, as if seen for the first time every time. The final revelation. The mirror never needed polishing, only the recognition of its eternal spotlessness. The sage's whisper. Don't clean the mirror. Discover who's holding the cloth. Key alchemical insights. The dust is attachment to mental constructs, not the constructs themselves. True purification is the cessation of the purifier. The culmination of gates 1 and 2. Unity, gate 1, plus surrender, gate 2, equals non-dual seeing, gate 3. This is where alchemy becomes pure recognition, the end of seeking what was never lost. Gate 4. The alchemy of spontaneous harmony. Can you abide in Wu Wei like valleys welcoming rain? Laozi's fourth question reveals the sacred mechanics of the universe. True power does not act, it allows. The valley does not strain to receive the rain. The rain does not labor to fall. Their perfect communion arises through the art of non-interference. This is Wu Wei, not passivity but action crystallized from stillness. The sacred revelation. 1. The valley's wisdom. Wu Wei is not in action, it is being acted through by the Tao. Our suffering comes from standing apart from life's current, like a boulder resisting the river. The sage becomes hollow, a bamboo flute through which the Tao breathes its melody. 2. The great alignment. Gate 1 united body and spirit. Gate 2 surrendered the breath. Gate 3 dissolved the observer. Now, Gate 4 completes the alchemy, you disappear into the doing. Decisions make themselves. Movement moves itself. You are no longer the dancer, but the dance. The living practice. 1. Water soul qigong. A move as if submerged in an ancient river. Arms drift like lotus stems in a slow current. Hips sway as if tugged by the moon's invisible thread. Each step begins before thought arises, like a deer startled by its own grace. 2. 3 breath stillness. Before any action, pause. First breath, release all intention, become an empty shell. Second breath, feel the body's knowing, the pull deeper than thought. Third breath, act only if moved, like reeds bending to a wind that does not exist. The transformation. When true Wu Wei awakens. Your hands know the next move before your mind forms a plan, like a calligrapher's brush falling into perfect strokes. Obstacles part like water around stone, not by force but by yielding intelligence. You realize, I am not the doer, but the space where doing happens. The Master's whisper. Don't practice Wu Wei. Discover where you're already being lived by the Tao. Key alchemical insights. Effortless action. The valley does not achieve harmony, it is harmony. The culmination. Gates 1 to 3 prepared the vessel. Gate 4 becomes the vessel. Water's secret. It conquers by adapting, never opposing. Gate 5. The alchemy of uncarved perception. Can your wisdom embrace all yet remain simple as uncarved wood? Laozi's fifth question cuts to the marrow of enlightenment. True wisdom is not knowing more but knowing less. Like the uncarved block, Pu, the awakened mind is pure potential, unshaped by thought yet containing all things. This is the return to origin. Before language, before meaning, before the first carving knife of intellect split reality into fragments. The sacred revelation. 1. The uncarved block's secret. Preconceptual awareness. The mind before the first label. When tree was still sunlight on bark and river was only movement without a name. Knowledge is but graffiti scrawled on the face of the Tao. The great forgetting. To reclaim wisdom we must shed the carvings, not add more. 2. The great return. Gate 1 united. Gate 2 surrendered. Gate 3 dissolved. Gate 4 allowed. Now, Gate 5 completes the undoing. The mind itself returns to its uncarved state. Not wisdom acquired, but innocence remembered. The living practice. 1. Morning mirror gazing. At dawn, face the world like an infant. See without naming, let the crow be only shadow and sound, the mountain only presence. When thoughts arise, whisper Pu, the sacred syllable that erases all carvings. The world is most real when no one is there to call it world. 2. Empty palm meditation. Hold a raw piece of wood or stone. Feel its untransformed truth, not wood, but texture, weight, silence. Imagine your mind equally untouched. No meditator. No practice. Only this. Finally release even this. The transformation. When true Pu awakens. The world sheds its names, Colors blaze with unnamed brilliance, forms dance without categories. Thoughts pass like wind through bare branches, leaving no mark, needing no answer. You realize, I am not the knower, but the emptiness in which all knowing unfolds. The Master's whisper. Don't seek simplicity. Discover what was never carved. Key alchemical insights. The uncarved block is the elixir. Its purity is the philosopher's stone. The pivot of the path. Gates 1 to 4 prepared the ground. Gate 5 is the seed. The paradox. By becoming nothing, you contain everything. This is where the alchemist becomes the uncarved block, and the entire cosmos blooms within its silent embrace. Gate 6. The alchemy of selfless nourishment. Can you give birth and nourish without claiming ownership? Laozi's final question unveils the supreme paradox of creation. True power lies in generosity without a giver, like the sun that lights 10,000 worlds, yet keeps no tally of its gifts. This is the ultimate alchemy, where love becomes an act of cosmic erosion, wearing away the last illusion, the I that claims to give. The sacred revelation. 1. The mother's wisdom. Non-possession is divine nourishment. The earth does not own the trees it grows. The mother does not own the breath she gives her child. True giving is the art of disappearance, the lie of ownership. Our suffering begins when we brand life mine, as if the river could claim the water flowing through it. 2. The great letting. Gates 1 to 5 purified, surrendered, and emptied you. Now Gate 6 unmakes the maker. Not renunciation, but the realization there was never anything to renounce. You are not the giver, but the space where giving happens. The living practice. 1. Milk blood meditation. At dawn or dusk, become the cosmic wet nurse. Place hands on your dantian as if cradling the world's hunger. Exhale golden warmth, like a mother's milk feeding all orphans of existence. Inhale all longing without keeping account. The secret sign. When your saliva turns sweet, the universe suckles at your emptiness. 2. Shadow adoption. When desire arises, for praise, control, legacy, swaddle it against your chest like a feverish infant. Hum wordless lullabies until it forgets your name. Test of success. When you cannot recall which thoughts were yours, the adoption is complete. 3. The unwritten will. Each full moon, perform this ritual of self-erasure. Bury your greatest achievement in black soil. Plant wildflowers where the memory rots. The law of immortals. What you do not claim becomes eternal. The transformation. When true non-possession awakens, your gifts multiply like rain dissolving into the ocean. No drop mourns its loss. All beings become your unborn children, fathered by silence, mothered by space. You realize, I am not the source, but the hollow bone through which creation breathes. The Master's whisper. Don't practice generosity. Discover where you're already empty. Key alchemical insights. The final rebellion. Even enlightenment cannot be owned. The shadow of Wu Wei, Gate 4 flow becomes sacred only when no one flows. A maternal alchemy. The highest giving is womb-like. It leaves no scar of having given. Arc of the 6 gates. 1. Unity. 2. Surrender. 3. Clarity. 4. Flow. 5. Simplicity. 6. Selfless nourishment. The culmination. You are not the alchemist. You are the crucible, the fire, and the gold being forged. Gate 6 is the end of the path, and the beginning of living it. Summary. The Sixfold Alchemy of the Tao. One question opens 10,000 methods. Gate 1. The Crucible of Undivided Light. Holding soul and body in the one embrace. The sacred marriage of Hun, celestial soul, and Po, earthly soul, in the lower Dantian's forge, where the alchemist becomes both flame and gold, witnessing spirit and flesh dissolve into a single dawn. Gate 2. The embryo of original breath. Softening qi like a newborn's surrender. Breathing as the unborn breathe, lungs becoming gills for primordial qi, the diaphragm a moon-drawn tide rocking the body's boat back to the womb ocean, where all is given and nothing claimed. Gate 3. The mirror that eats its frame. polishing perception beyond reflection, scouring the mind's mirror with the acid of emptiness until it reflects nothing, yet sees everything. Here, the observer vanishes, and the world begins painting itself through your hollow eyes. Gate 4, the throne of liquid decisions. Governing through Wu Wei's perfect patience. Ruling as the valley rules the river, by being lower. Every choice becomes the Tao's calligraphy, flowing through your stilled hands like frost forming on midnight grass. Gate 5, the library of uncarved silence. Wisdom wearing simplicity's cloak. Knowledge that arrives by unlearning, where the mind becomes uncarved wood, its grain recording celestial patterns. Each thought a bird that leaves no footprints in the sand of understanding. Gate 6, the womb that forgets its child. Nourishing without keeping score. The great maternal paradox, becoming so empty you birth universes yet charge no midwife's fee. Generosity becomes the wind's way with seeds, the cloud's gift to the mountain, the mouth that tastes but never bites. The completion. These 6 gates form the Liù Hé Dǐng, the hexagram crucible where Gates 1 to 3 temper the vessel, purification. Gates 4 to 6 become the elixir, illumination. Together they forge the Zǐ Wǔ Zhōu Tiān, the celestial orbit where all questions dissolve into the one taste. A sage carries these gates in their chest, like a beehive holds honeycomb, each cell perfect, all sweetness one. To pass through them is to die 6 times, and be reborn in the Tao's eternal furnace. That's all for this video. If this teaching stirred something in you, subscribe and walk this quiet path with me. Let's keep returning to the light within.